some southern areas. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's on the front pages. Sir Keir Starmer is now facing a leadership challenge from multiple different fronts. Open warfare going on in the Labour Party. We will have the inside story. Some other devastating front pages, I'm afraid, for the Labour Party. 4 million on benefits who don't have to find a job. But could it be good news for some of the waspy women? It looks like they might finally be getting the pay offer that they've so desperately craved. All that and much more.
You could win your entire Christmas on us this year, all magically delivered to you in time for the big day. There's cash, £30,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year go with a bang. There's also a further £10,000 to spend on all the gifts. We've also got Christmas lunch for you, with £1,000 in vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a festive GB News goodie bag, so there's something for everyone under the tree. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Huge news happening right now.
Now I'm told Keir Starmer will basically say, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Right, well, Sir Keir Starmer's not very hard, so it should be quite easy, shouldn't it? The Labour government is collapsing into all-out civil war. Right now, the Prime Minister is apparently fighting for his political career, fending off, or trying to anyway, multiple different leadership challenges. The main one appears to be from Wes Streeting, who has organised, apparently, 50 frontbench MPs who are willing to walk out if the budget goes badly. Yes, this man is doing it.
Whether we are in the cabinet, whether we are in Parliament, whether we are in leadership in local government or our cities, all of us need to put our shoulders to the wheel behind this Prime Minister.
Oh, it's a dirty business politics, isn't it? So Wes Streeting stands accused of actually trying to oust Sir Keir Starmer. The threat of this could be quite imminent, either after the budget or after he gets a monumental kicking in the May election. Now, Wes Streeting has, of course, denied the allegations. I tell you what's going to add a little bit of extra spice to this is that Wes Streeting is due to do the morning round of interviews tomorrow and do a big speech at midday. Meanwhile...
Abigail Foster.
How can you bring about hope to the young generation who can't get jobs, can't get houses, and are seriously worried about the upcoming budget?
She can't. It's knackered. A budget that creates jobs, except, of course, 1,000 jobs a day that are being lost under Rachel Reeves. Now, this is on one of the front pages. There's also a couple of other pretty devastating stories for Labour on some of the other front pages as well. 4 million are now on benefits, and they don't have to find a job. That's the front of the Express. We've also got this.
We will thrive. We will thrive. And this narrative will not just be, given by our enemies.
I mean, absolutely shameless, outgoing BBC Director General, Tim Davie, I said, read that quote on your screens there. We are the very best of society. We are the very best of society. Well, why don't you go and be the very best of a different society, because he's resigned. Also...
I've been joining them and fighting to try and get this changed. I think it's completely unfair, and I want to keep fighting for a fair deal for the WWII women.
Couple of things there. She doesn't sound like that anymore, does she? The reason why she put that accent on is because I believe she was in Yorkshire, in her own constituency, fighting for a local WWII women, yeah? She doesn't sound like that now, does she? She's put an accent on. Also, she then came into power and Labour U-turned on the WWII women. Well, now they might have U-turned again, so I don't know what that means. Is that they've come full circle? Is that what that is? They've come full circle, so they might be about to give the WWII women the compensation that they've been demanding. And...
I have been informed, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon that HMPPS are investigating a further case of a potential release in error on the 3rd of November who may still be at large.
There's almost too much news tonight as the man affectionately known as Calamity Lammy strikes again. 91 prisoners were released accidentally, and some of them might still be on the loose. Absolutely stellar lineup we've got this evening for you. Broadcasting royalty Christo Foufas is with us, GB News contributor and comedian Paul Cox, and of course, as well, we've got the political commentator Jonathan Liss.
Well, no epithet as well? No, nice comment?
No. Right, no. Hey, he's here. Right, now let's get those headlines down, Armstrong.
Thank you, Patrick. Very good evening to you. 4 minutes past 11 here in the GB newsroom. The Health Secretary has denied plotting to oust the Prime Minister amid reports of a potential leadership challenge. The denial from Wes Streeting came as Sir Keir Starmer's allies within Downing Street fear his job could be under threat in the wake of the budget. The Prime Minister's aides are understood to have warned that attempts to oust him will lead to market chaos and will destabilise international relations. A spokesperson for Wes Streeting says these claims are categorically untrue. Wes's focus has entirely been on cutting waiting lists and rebuilding the NHS that saved his life. The Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, has described the BBC as a light on the hill for people here and across the world. Lisa Nandy told MPs in the Commons there's a fundamental difference between raising serious concerns and launching a sustained attack on the institution itself, adding that the BBC must uphold the highest standards, but she disagreed with some in the House over allegations of institutional bias. It comes after outgoing BBC Director General Tim Davie told staff the corporation must stand up for its journalism after President Trump threatened to sue for $1 billion. Her shadow counterpart, Nigel Huddlestone, says the corporation requires institutional change.
These recent leadership changes are a response to the growing number of examples of bias in the BBC, one of which has resulted in a potential $1 billion lawsuit. We all want the BBC to succeed, to be the best possible version of itself, but that requires institutional change and far more than a few moves at the top.
The Justice Secretary has admitted another prisoner may have been released by mistake last week, saying authorities aren't sure if that person's still at large. David Lammy confirmed to MPs that 3 mistakenly released prisoners remain on the run, but none of those are convicted sex offenders. Well, the Justice Secretary may be facing questions in the Commons after he confirmed that 91 prisoners have been freed in total by mistake since April this year. Last week it emerged 2 inmates were freed in error following the high-profile case of Harish Kabatu, the now deported migrant, at the heart of the Epping protests. Meanwhile, the High Court's rejected an attempt to prevent asylum seekers being housed at the Bell Hotel in Essex. Epping Forest District Council claimed the owners of the hotel were in breach of planning rules. Mr Justice Mould dismissing the claim, ruling an injunction was not an appropriate means of enforcing planning control. The hotel became the scene of protests earlier this year when Mr Kabatu, Harish Kabatu, who was living there, was convicted of sexually assaulting a woman and a teenage girl. The Home Office insists the government will close all asylum hotels and say they're working to find alternative accommodation. And the King and Queen and Prince of Wales have attended an Armistice Day reception for veterans at Windsor Castle. The King shared a hug with a 105-year-old Second World War veteran, Yavar Abbas, whose speech thanking the King and Queen during a VJ Day event in Staffordshire earlier this year, despite Charles's ongoing cancer treatment, seemingly moved him and Camilla to tears. And Mr Abbas said, "I told him we can't go on meeting like this." Others present include the Prime Minister, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch, Defence Secretary John Healing and the actor Sir Mark Rylance. Those are your latest headlines. Now, it's back to Patrick.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Well, let's get stuck straight into Wednesday's front pages. And this is the news that's going to be dominating, well, frankly, every single media outlet in the coming 24, possibly 48 hours, and until it actually happens. Because number 10 is on high alert this evening amid fears of a challenge to Sir Keir Starmer's leadership. It's The Guardian. There's open warfare at the moment in Downing Street. Apparently West Streeting, Shabana Mahmood, Angela Rayner and potentially even Ed Miliband as well are openly trying to oust Sir Keir Starmer. West Streeting appears to be the lead candidate. More info on that shortly. The Daily Telegraph have gone for "We are the very best of society," which again I'll say is not a quote from our veterans. No, it's a quote from the outgoing Director General of the BBC. So it's nice to see that they've really taken people's views on board there, expressed some humility and taken some accountability. The Sun: "I'm a celebrity, get me out of this." Yeah, that's the big news of the day. I'm a Celebrity stars are saying that they don't want to have to do that many Bush Tucker trials in a row. Sign me up, I'll do every single one. I'll do every single one. Do it over and over again, on repeat. I'll do 2 a day. Anyway, the Metro. £5 billion... I need the money. £5 billion crypto queen jailed. So that's what that is. The Independent: "Defiant BBC boss. We must fight for our journalism," on the Independent there. The Eye: "Fresh hope for waspy women as Labour promises to look back at compensation." Now, this is going to be very controversial. We'll talk about this, but for a few reasons. So, firstly, Labour came to power promising to pay the waspy women their compensation, which is a huge amount of money, into the billions of pounds. Apparently, it's pushed for £10,000 for each of the 3.6 million women born in the 1950s, so who expected to receive a state pension at the age of 60 but were forced to wait. So that is a huge amount of money, obviously. Labour now do not have that money. They're about to put everyone's taxes up. They've already U-turned on it once. I mean, that is a big story. What are they going to do about the waspy women situation? Moving on, then, the Daily Mail: 1,000 jobs a day are being lost under Rachel Reeves. We hit an astronomical figure of 5% unemployment today. 180,000 people have lost their jobs in the year to October. Thank you very much, Rachel. The Daily Mirror: just completely different story, really. Harvey Wilgoose's murder. Apparently, the parents of Harvey Wilgoose are saying that they will meet their son's killer. At the Times: 1 million more people on benefits with no need to seek work. Well, hold my beer, says the Daily Express. You then go on to say 4 million people on benefits don't have to find a job. So, all in all, not the best set of front pages for Labour, but, you know, when is it at the moment? This is the breaking news. We're going to deal with it. It's on the front of both The Times and The Guardian, and it is that Sir Keir Starmer is facing a leadership challenge from multiple fronts. Now, tonight, he is vowing, and his aides are vowing, that he will fight any challenge to his leadership, and that's in the wake of the budget, which is in a couple of weeks' time, or next year's local elections in May. It comes as Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, has been forced to deny this evening that he is part of this particular plot, which seems, if you don't mind me saying, was slightly implausible, given how many people are reporting here, the fact that 50 frontbench MPs were apparently prepared to walk out if this budget doesn't go particularly well, and, of course, the fact that Shabana Mahmood, we've also got Angela Rayner, and potentially even Ed Miliband are also involved in this. So I'm going to read you out a spokesperson's comments here about Wes. These claims are categorically untrue. Wes's focus has entirely been on cutting waiting lists for the first time in 15 years, recruiting 2,500 more GPs and rebuilding the NHS that saved his life. So Wes Streeting's denial there includes a list of reasons why he should be the Labour leader. Right. A government source said Number 10 has gone into full bunker mode, turning on their most loyal cabinet members for absolutely no reason. It's big. It looks as though the game is very much on. And here to help explain it is Patrick Maguire from The Times, who helped to break this story.
He is always, with every spare moment now, with his new team, meeting MPs, having groups of them into Number 10. Morgan McSweeney is also having groups of them into Number 10. They're listening to MPs, or at least being seen to listen. And he knows he needs to do that because of the imminent challenge to his leadership. He knows it's a question of when, not if. Now, what will he do when that happens? Now, I'm told Keir Starmer will basically say, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. He will say to any cabinet minister who comes out after the budget or after local elections, who comes to see him and says, Prime Minister, this is really bad, I think you need to resign, he'll say, well, I'm sorry, I disagree. Because what do you think that would do to the markets? What do you think that would do to our relationships with our international allies? And if you really, really want to open this leadership question, what you should do is find 80 MPs to nominate you, and you and I, we can all fight a leadership election.
On the front of The Guardian, it says Keir doesn't realise this is existential. The other news about Wes Streeting is that apparently for some months now, Downing Street have been very worried about his plots and him speaking out openly on various different issues that did not toe the party line. And that line this evening is that they became aware of something in the last couple of days that made them realise that Wes Streeting was actively plotting to oust Sir Keir Starmer. But it's not a shock, because apparently Angela Rayner is going to be the, quote, kingmaker behind the scenes and all of this. God. And let's just remind ourselves what Wes Streeting said about her at Labour Party conference.
As the care worker who became our country's Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, this achievement is yours. Thank you. We'll definitely make sure she sees that. We need her back.
Oh, Christo, it's all falling apart in Downing Street, isn't it?
It's so depressing because, you know, it's not depressing that Keir Starmer might be going because, frankly, he's absolutely dreadful. No one thinks he's done a good job. He is the worst Prime Minister with the biggest majority we've had in years. However, when you look at the list of replacements, that's even more depressing. The only thing that we can be happy about is that David Lammy isn't on there, because could you imagine if he was going to be our Prime Minister? It's clear...
He thinks the Prime Minister lives in number 12.
Which
is one after 9.
He'd lock himself away in Downing Street just to make sure that someone was locked up. The prison thing is absolutely hilarious. It was nice you had Robert Jenrick on as well, actually. Shame he couldn't.
No one ever.
It was a shame he couldn't talk about the loss of tools, because, of course, if Starmer goes, it's the loss of a tool. Thank you.
A toolmaker's son, of course.
He's here all night. He's here all night, sadly.
What that is, can I just say, what that is satire.
Thank you. That is political satire, isn't it? I'm wasted here.
Yeah.
Also, the Stop Wes campaign. Why isn't it Stop Streeting? Like, surely Stop Streeting sounds better than Stop Wes.
Yeah, they can't even get that right.
The alliteration. You'd be like Stop Streeting, Operation Stop the Streeting.
Prime Minister Wes. I've not even considered that. Wes was the guy who nicked your sweets in the playground when I was growing up. Yeah. Not the Prime Minister. The biggest, most shocking story here for me is that Keir Starmer has allies. I keep seeing Keir Starmer allies say, I think, who is it? Who are the allies?
Who do you reckon it is? Do you reckon it's himself? He's got he's got an alt account.
Well, Donald Trump used to do that. Donald Trump used to talk to journalists in a fake voice, pretending.
Dressed as Donald Trump?
No, but talking about Donald Trump, but he was actually
on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all, actually. But look, this is an incredible story, and it will end with Keir Starmer losing his job, almost certainly. Whether it'll be before the budget, after the budget...
Well, it'll be after now, won't it?
Yeah, it almost has to, doesn't it, Patrick? But it's going to be fascinating. The idea, though, that the whole cabinet's against him, and they're willing, by the way, at our expense, to wait for the budget to happen, see it go terribly bad, and then say, look, we can save it.
Then the person...
We're the collateral damage.
But the person will come in and reverse some of the worst bits. It was like the poll tax. Brilliant policy, of course, under Thatcher. But, you know, it was allowed...
God rest her soul, Christopher.
God rest her soul. Best policy that she ever had that wasn't allowed to be brought in. Then, of course, John Major came in, council tax, I'm going to fix it all. It'll be a similar thing. But I actually think, on a serious note, we really need to get our head around quite how big a story this is. Could you imagine in any other circumstance someone who got a majority the size of Keir Starmer's 18 months later, there being a really serious threat to him still being Prime Minister?
Well, Boris Johnson lasted, less than 3 years in the end.
Yeah, with a majority under half of what Keir Starmer...
It was still a significant... I'm not downplaying how badly Labour has messed this up and how much responsibility lies on Starmer's shoulders, because there have been external factors, but there have been so many unforced errors and own goals from the very beginning, from the general election onwards. So, of course, Starmer has to take responsibility. But, you know, speaking from a serious point again, as someone like myself who wants to see a Labour government succeed because the alternative is so frightening and the prospect of that so dire, I have mixed views about this, because I can see that Starmer has failed, and so part of me thinks, well, you know, if there is a natural force to kind of, you know, to get rid of him, then so be it. But I also know that when you do have parties that start talking to themselves, start focusing on infighting and usurping people and all that stuff, the electors just go off them even more. It never works.
Just for a bit of context, Sir Keir Starmer, the latest opinion polls have him on a net personal approval rating of -45, which is the lowest since records began. Rachel,
which is bonkers. How could that be lower than Liz Truss? Come on. That's bonkers.
Liz Truss had the right idea but the wrong way of going about it. He's got the wrong idea and the wrong way of going about it.
She didn't have the right idea about anything.
She did. Growth and low taxes. How is that not a good thing?
Well, Labour wants to have growth as well.
They don't want low taxes, and their growth strategy is... I mean, it's absolutely... My belly's growing bigger than their economy.
Chris, could you leave some of the jokes to me?
Sorry.
Well, I mean...
It's true, though. I mean, they haven't grown anything, have they, Jonathan? It's really... I admire you coming on here and trying to defend... I'm pretty sure, actually, Starmer Labour is not your Labour. I'm pretty sure it isn't.
No, it's not.
McSweeney sits in the background. McSweeney's a very powerful guy, by the way, and he would have been the architect of the downfall of the Corbyn times, the Momentum times, which I'm guessing, Jonathan, was more your...
I was never a momentum person, but I'm on the left and I want to see a progressive Labour government.
But can I just say as well that when Nigel Farage did his big speech about business and tax last week, I think it was, he said in that he's predicting that there will be a general election in 2027. This government will fall down after a couple more catastrophic budgets. And if this is anything to go by, then, to be honest with you, it looks like he might be right about that.
He is right, I think. I'm pretty sure a 27-28 election is on the cards.
No way on earth.
I just think enough's going to... We're on a trajectory now. See, Jonathan looks at me with his... He's got these wonderful eyes, right? It's difficult to be serious and have a go at Jonathan, but Jonathan's wrong.
Oh, go and have a go.
Jonathan is wrong, because I think Labour are now... They're not at the peak of this wave. It's just going to keep going, and I think you're right with the infighting with this cabinet. It's still the cabinet. It's a very Starmer-esque cabinet. I don't see anyone within that cabinet who can lead the country. I don't know anyone outside of that cabinet who can lead the country. Labour look kind of without leadership.
Where's Streeting is probably...
He's going to lose his seat.
The one... He might well lose his seat, but they'll shuffle him in somewhere else. But I think that he seems to be the one that can string a sentence together the best out of all of them. I mean, it's a very, very low bar. I mean, you know, you could probably throw in a bit of kebab meat and it would be OK at being Prime Minister over the rest of them. But, I mean, Ed Miliband, that would be absolutely disastrous. The man is an absolute tool.
No, he's
Angela
not.
Rayner... how can you possibly say that? I mean, he goes on with his little ukulele going on about stupid...
Well, on Ed Miliband, by the way, he's just flown to Brazil, back again and to Brazil again. He's staying in a 5-star hotel there. He's meeting with members of Extinction Rebellion who said they wanted to abolish air flights. He's also got our new climate envoy with him who's invoiced the taxpayer £39,000 for business class flights.
Look, the problem that Miliband has is that he was he was the leader before and it didn't go so well, and I don't see that he could become the leader again. I don't see it. Right, well, but he does have a lot of experience. He was a successful minister in another Labour government, which is something that many people can say. Right. Yeah, there are decent performers. There are decent performers.
I would be keeping an eye on the diary of David Miliband at the moment if it were me.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. Saucy. Well, it'll be Angela Rayner, by the way.
Not
the next Prime Minister will be Angela Rayner.
Oh. OK, well, look, this is the breaking news of the evening. As I'm sure you've gathered by now, Sir Keir Starmer is now openly facing leadership challenges from multiple different sources. He's vowed to fight them. Keir knows he's already fighting for a leadership contest. When it comes, he won't resign. He will fight it. OK, I mean, a tragic case for a man who's had smoke blown up his backside for his entire life, told that he's the most intelligent person in every room, despite the fact that, obviously, clearly, he doesn't understand the British public. In fact, he's allergic to them, and he's now facing the consequences of his own actions. I really, really hope he's enjoying what he sees in the mirror this evening. Coming up in just a moment.
Mine will be a budget for growth, with fairness at its heart, and a budget that supports businesses to create jobs and to innovate.
Well, if Boss wasn't about to have his rear end handed to him on a platter by his cabinet colleagues, this would probably be the lead story. 4 million people are now on benefits. They don't have to try to find a job. 1,000 jobs a day are now being lost under Rachel Reeves.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
The Royal British Legion is launching the Poppy Appeal to raise funds to support the armed forces community.
Well, the launch will be held at Frameless, where veterans supported by the RBL will share their stories amid a spectacular, immersive poppy landscape projection.
Well, the appeal will encourage the nation to wear a poppy to send a personal message of thanks to those who serve.
Well, let's talk to our national reporter, Will Godley.
And this is all part of the Royal British Legion's fundraising, this Poppy Appeal, happening from now until Armistice Day on, of course, 11th of November, raising money for the armed forces community. They're hoping to raise £50 million to support the some 7,000 veterans, family members and armed forces. And when you were in Afghanistan, that's when your military career came to an unexpected end, wasn't it? What happened there?
So I was the point man in a foot patrol, and unfortunately I was involved in an explosion which subsequently took my hearing from my left ear, and due to that I was forced to leave the army for medical reasons.
And since then, Jason, you've been supported by the Royal British Legion. What kind of support have they offered for you?
Well, it's a vast array of support, really. It can be financial, you know, mental health. They can signpost you for different various charities and support that, you know, as veterans that we really essentially do need, you know, to rebuild our lives and get to a better point, you know, and be positive in our lives and know that we've got that hand on our shoulder when it's needed.
And I can hear you sounding a little bit emotional talking about it. What kind of a difference has that made, that support, on your life?
Oh, it's massive, you know, you can't really... It's not something you can put into words.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
All right, let's do Wednesday's newspaper front pages. And like I said, on a normal night, it turns out the Labour leader wasn't facing a leadership challenge on multiple fronts. These would be leading the agenda. So the Daily Express goes for this. 4 million people on benefits don't have to find a job. The Daily Mail goes for 1,000 jobs a day now lost under Rachel Reeves. So we have unemployment at 5%. It's spiked at 5%. 180,000 people have lost their jobs in the year to October. And now apparently it's 1,000 jobs a day that are going. It's being called an economic bloodbath. Christo.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable that just everything they touch turns to poo. Everything. So they bring in the jobs tax, national insurance. Stop fiddling with your papers, thank you. Bring in the national insurance, sort of jobs tax. What does that mean? Loads and loads of people end up unemployed. You're putting me off my stride, thank you. Loads of people end up unemployed. You end up with a situation where they put up the taxes on capital gains tax. They end up with less money from capital gains tax. They have more people dependent on the state when they're trying to reduce the amount of money that they're spending on the state. Meanwhile, they're throwing around money right, left and centre on breakfast clubs, making people more dependent on the state. Why not lower taxes so that people can actually buy their children breakfast? It is all a complete shower of poo.
What on earth is wrong with the breakfast club? Of all the things to be angry about, are you angry about feeding children,
I'm angry that you're taking responsibility away from parents who should be capable of feeding their children, because they should pay a little enough amount of tax and wages should be good enough that they are able to give their children breakfast. Why is it the state's job to do that?
This is the most ludicrous, even by your standards, it's a ludicrous argument.
Why is that the state's job then? Tell me why it's the state's job to feed children over
parents. It actually doesn't... You can have an ideological discussion about good parenting, and you can make legitimate criticisms of the way that some people parent their kids, of course. But fundamentally, I do not see why children should be the sacrificial lamb of your ideology. If there are children who are not being fed properly, yes,
so why
the state should actually step in to feed them. If there are... Well, but there are... Look, of course, I believe... Well, it's just like saying, why should we have schools? The state has a responsibility to educate kids and to prepare them for life. What? We have school lunches, don't we? We have school lunches.
Well, again, they should be for the children that need them. The parents that can afford them can pay for those school lunches.
Look, it's... Hang on.
Well, just
state dependency.
4 million on benefits who don't have to find a job. So taxes are going up, and so fewer people are going to be paying more taxes to subsidise more people.
Which is a huge Labour issue caused by Labour, but has one huge benefit for Labour. Nearly all of those 4 million people sat on benefits of voting age will vote Labour because Labour will keep them in that comfortable position. The bigger that number gets, the better it is for Labour and their voter base.
That's very cynical, and I like it, but it's extremely cynical.
We don't need it, though. We do need to encourage people back to work. I'm not sure we need to starve children. I'm not sure Christo was saying that we should.
You're not sure?
Look, I have to think about it. You've not met all the kids. Some of them are annoying.
I was very fat as a child. I didn't need to be fed anymore.
But no, I think breakfast clubs are a good idea.
Oh, another one of those articles that gets written about this show, isn't it? Where people ignore the fact that we were obviously joking and then just say, like, first he wanted to kill the disabled, now he wants to starve children. For the record, I don't want to do either of those things. Anyway, carry on.
And I'm still thinking about it. but it's I don't think this is cynical. I think this is exactly the same. The same is true of illegal immigration. It's true, though, isn't it, Jonathan? That the more people that Labour allow into the country and don't stop them getting into the country, And the more people they allow on benefits and don't stop them being on benefits, the bigger their future voter base grows. But our economy is on its knees. It's more on its knees than Starmer and Rayner after.
That's a bonkers argument. Migrants come. Irregular migrants are not voters.
Irregular.
They are not voters, and it will take many years.
Very regular, by the way. Those illegal migrants are very regular. I don't know where this irregular business comes from. If the weather is good, they come.
So just to say, in terms of how much of this is Labour's doing, if we can just go to the Times' front page, because to put it into context about the number of new people on benefits with no need to work, that has risen by 1 million. Universal credit claimants jump by 50%, they say, to a record high. It's jumped in a year. So that's on Labour. We have 1 million more people on benefits with no need to find a job under Labour.
Well, look, in this Time story, it says that the category includes those in full-time education, those with a child under 1, and those judged too ill to work. So there are always going to be caveats, and the ministers are saying these people are being moved into older benefits as well. So it's not as though 1 million people have suddenly just turned up out of the blue and say, I want to be on benefits, and the government said, OK. That's not what's happened.
But it's a
I accept...
Just on that, sorry, no, you're right. Well, that's not what's happened. They've rendered people unemployed because they hiked employers' national insurance.
Well, look, I feel like we can have a that's a separate issue from the benefits question, is the unemployment question. The 5% unemployment.
People are on.
No. A lot of these the majority of benefit claimants are actually working. In general. So it's a slightly separate issue with the unemployment, and I agree with you that you can have a legitimate conversation about the national insurance rise and about how that has disincentivised companies from hiring people. As I've said thousands of times, it was a colossal blunder for Labour to say at the time of the last election that we would not be putting up national insurance or income tax or VAT. If they'd said, honestly, we need to raise taxes because the Conservatives have run this country into the ground, people would have accepted it and voted for it.
They would have had to have said Rishi Sunak is correct in what he's saying.
I've got some breaking news. Sorry to cut this off, but it's quite important. So some breaking news for you now. Dozens of armed indigenous protesters have stormed the COP30 conference in Brazil as unrest erupted at that climate summit. The demonstrators clashed with security at the entrance to the venue, which had to be barricaded with tables. It's believed that the protesters were armed with batons and were part of a group of hundreds who marched to the venue in the Amazonian city of Belém on Tuesday. According to eyewitnesses, one security guard was rushed from the scene in a wheelchair whilst clutching his stomach. Another security guard had a fresh cut over his eye and said that he had been struck by a heavy drumstick thrown from the crowd. So I'm just going to read that to you again. By the way, we're going to get pictures and video to this. I think this is still happening. So we're going to get pictures and video to this to you of this very shortly. But again, dozens of armed indigenous protesters have just stormed the COP30 climate conference and started beating people up with sticks. And then people have had to barricade themselves in with a table. Gosh, I wonder if Ed Miliband's OK. Coming up in just a moment, we have got a bit of this.
I've been joining them and fighting to try and get this changed. I think it's completely unfair, and I want to keep fighting for a fair deal for the WWII women.
Putting that voice on. She's putting that voice on because she's in Yorkshire talking to other people from Yorkshire. I want a fair deal for these WWII women. Yeah, but she doesn't sound like that. She
She puts her normal voice on.
No, she doesn't. Sorry, play that again. Play again. We're going to bring it up. Does Yvette Cooper sound like this normally? Here we go.
I've been joining them and fighting to try and get this changed. I think it's completely unfair, and I want to keep fighting for a fair deal for the WWII women.
I want to keep fighting. We're going to have a really good fight here.
That's just how she sounds.
For the WWII women.
It's like a Hovis advert, isn't it?
Got a really good fight here. Anyway,
she's not a Gallagher
more about this in a couple of minutes' time.
Good evening. It's time for your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Through the next 24 hours, there will be more rain to come for many places, but also some dry and bright weather, particularly across a central slice of the UK. Now, we currently have an area of low pressure out towards the west, and this is driving some blustery winds and some wet weather due to a frontal system that's marching its way across. We have a front clearing away towards the north as we go overnight, but lingering across the far north of Scotland, and then a front pushing eastwards, but also lingering across some southern southeastern parts, so a fair bit of rain to come. But in between those two wetter areas where things will stay pretty mild, there's some drier, clearer weather, and here things could turn a little fresh. Some rural spots could drop into low single figures perhaps. But in the south, where we have this cloud and rain, it is going to be a wet and blustery start to the day for many places. The rain could be quite heavy, particularly in the southwest. Across much of Wales and central England, dry but cloudy to start. Brighter across much of Northern Ireland, Northern England and southern Scotland. Across the rest of Scotland, though, quite cloudy, outbreaks of rain, and some of the rain could be a little bit heavy at times as well. As we go through the day, some of that rain across parts of Scotland, well, that's going to continue, may edge a little bit further southwards towards the borders area. Meanwhile, the heavier, more persistent rain in the south, that pushes its way northwards, and that's going to spread across Wales, the Midlands and into northern England later on as well. It is still mild out there at the moment, especially so towards the southeast. Once that rain clears away, there'll be some brightness, and so we're looking at temperatures reaching around 16 Celsius. Then Thursday, a bit of a messy day for many places. Some rain across parts of Scotland, northern England and northern Ireland. Bit of rain in the far south of England as well. Drier, brighter across the Midlands and Wales and the far north of Scotland, seeing a few showers. And then on Friday, colder air pushing into northern parts. Meanwhile, some heavy rain and strong winds affecting some southern areas. Bye-bye.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Okay, right, welcome back, by the way. Let's do some more front pages. Now, this is going to be another big controversy for Labour, and it's on the front of the I. Now, the I newspaper is reporting that Labour are considering paying the WASPI women, fresh hope for WASPI women, as Labour promises to look again at compensation. So the government said they were going to do this when they were fighting to get your vote. They said that they were going to do this, and then they U-turned on it, and that caused problems. Now, the WASPI campaign has pushed for £10,000 for every single one of the 3.6 million women who were born in the 1950s, who expected to receive a state pension at the age of 60, but were forced to wait. Now, supposedly, Labour is could be about to give them that amount of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. How much is it, Christo?
Well, I did it on my
36
calculator,
billion, isn't it?
and it's come up as 3.6 E10.
36, well, it's 36,
So is that 36
billion, isn't it?
Is it 36 billion or is it 3.6? Anyway, whatever, I don't know. 36 billion, yeah?
Yeah.
OK. So lots of money. However, Yvette Cooper, who we all know now is Foreign Secretary, is on record saying this.
I've been joining them and fighting to try and get this changed. I think it's completely unfair, and I want to keep fighting for a fair deal for the WASPI women.
Oh,
right, now, hang on a minute.
That's her Emmerdale audition.
Just a sec. Now, let's make sure we're not being unfair to Yvette Cooper here. Maybe I've got this wrong, but I think it sounded to me like she was putting on a slightly performative Yorkshire accent. Now, we're going to keep fighting for the WASPI women. That's what it sounded a little bit like to me. So here's, I don't know where this clip's from. I think it might be September. Let's just see if she sounds like that.
That decision has rightly been taken, and now our focus continues to be on the work that we will continue to do, not just with the US government, but with governments across the world, under the Prime Minister's strong leadership.
Play the one from Yorkshire again. Play that one where she's with the WSP women. Play it. Go on. We got it? Let's do it.
I've been joining them and fighting to try and get this changed. I think it's completely unfair, and I want to keep fighting for a fair deal for the WSP women.
Yeah. But in fairness, when you are with people with a certain accent, you often mimic them unconsciously.
Well, that got me into a lot of trouble when I visited Pakistan.
Yeah, or Mile End.
Yeah. But it's almost so. Not only does she just make sound different whenever she speaks, but she also just says whatever. Well,
that's in 2019.
They lied about the WSP women and have had to U-turn. They lied about tax, which they're now going to have to put up. It was almost like they'd say absolutely anything to get elected, and then they've U-turned.
I don't think that the WSP women, there was a pledge to resolve this in the 2024 Labour manifesto. I think it was a 2019 commitment, which Labour then backtracked on after Corbyn
It was more the fact that they'd obviously been out and about saying stuff.
So it wasn't. I don't think that Starmer himself said that he was going to compensate all of those women.
I was just going to say this. I mean, 36 billion. I think this is. It was unaffordable, which is why they backtracked straight away. Which arguably, against the economy, is a sensible decision to make politically. We then invented a 22 billion pound black hole, which became 50 billion pound. This would make it 86 billion.
Right. So
where does it come from?
Right. So
this seems like it's just politicking, populist left politicking.
It's not populist left politicking, because a lot of Tories say that those women should be compensated. Well, because guess what? Who are the people who are most likely to vote? Women of a certain age.
Oh no, they definitely should do it. By the way, since I've been on this channel 4 years, I have suddenly realised that the largest democratic of my own fan base is WSP women. They love me, and I love them.
Yeah.
Can I just say now, the WSP women are close to my heart. They've knitted me things. They've sent me messages that are inappropriate. I love them. I want them to get the things that they want, but I don't know how we're going to achieve it. And it feels to me that right now, this is just unachievable and setting Labour up for another fall.
And if anything demonstrates like the sheer desperation of the WSP women, it's the fact that they are your fan base.
to tie into two potentially very large expenditure stories coming out of this budget preview, it would be the 36 billion quid, we think it's that anyway, for the WSP women, and the scrapping of the two-child benefit cap entirely.
I mean, I don't know why we don't just open up hostels and the government just, like, raise children. Instead, just have a child and then just lease it to the government for 18 years. They can feed it, they can raise it, they can do everything for it, and then you get it back at age 18.
Do you think that a child should suffer on account of having a poor parent?
No, I think a parent should be responsible enough to feed and clothe that child, and that the government should empower those parents to do so by making sure that they are prosperous, that they have low taxes, and that they are responsible, rather than that parent absolving themselves of responsibility by the government.
If a parent has a child that they can't afford,
don't have the child.
Okay, fine. Don't have the child, but the child's been born. Should that child suffer because the decisions are for the parents?
What you do, and what one should do, is say, right, in X number of years' time, right, we are going to get rid of these child benefits, and we're going to get rid of these free school meals and everything else, because we don't want a culture of state dependency. So you can plan your family and plan your lives around that.
That's
what I would like to see.
Because, Paul, you actually would let them starve to death, wouldn't you?
And you have said that on the record.
I mean, as I was saying before the break and very heavily during the break, you're absolutely right, Patrick.
Yeah, it's crystal clear.
But I wouldn't, no. I didn't say that I wanted all children to starve. I said we should just means test.
Just poor ones.
Yeah.
Means test. I think that's reasonable.
Rich ones, we should give... No, I mean nothing by this. We have to look after children. There's, we need to have sex. It's all we've got. That's the only pleasure left. So sex means children. We're going to have to have them.
all.
No, okay. On this half of the table,
no one has pleasure with Chris, though.
Actually, yeah. There's very much a child and non-child camp here. Anyway,
camp being the optimal word.
The jokes write themselves. But when we come back down to earth, a bit of a bump. OK. I'm prepared to live with that.
No, you sound woke.
Look, two very serious stories. David Lammy he's just let out like 91 people by mistake, so there's that. But also, this is a very moving story, this. It's a 101-year-old veteran who is done an interview with us. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of fine weather at the moment across the Med, but whilst it's warm in Spain, there is some wet and windy weather moving through Madeira, approaching the Channel Islands, and also affecting Portugal. Later, that's going to push through parts of Spain, but ahead of it we've got a southerly airflow and above average temperatures, a lot of sunshine through Italy into Greece as well. Keen breeze here, 1 or 2 showers, and you can see that unsettled weather affecting Tenerife on Thursday.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Right, OK, so welcome back. Now, look, there's obviously loads on the front pages, which we have done a huge amount of. I just wanted to say that to commemorate Armistice Day, we are going to hear from an extraordinary woman. Grace Taylor lied about her age to join the Auxiliary Territorial Service, aged just 16, and became a gunner girl, defending Britain from Luftwaffe attacks. She's now aged 101. And she spoke to GB News regular and historian Dr. Tessa Dunlop to reflect on service, survival and her memories of World War II.
I've come down to Poole in Dorset for this very special 80th armistice anniversary of the end of World War II, because today this is the home of Grace Taylor, one of the final few surviving gunner girls who night after night served to keep our skies safe from the German Luftwaffe.
There were posters all over the place telling you we need more people in the forces, and I thought, why don't I join up? So I went down to Southend and I signed up, and then I was waiting for the letter from them to tell them when to go. The letter came, they told me to report to Glencarver Barracks at Leicester.
It must have been a bit like escaping this lonely job.
Yeah.
And had you
It was exciting, really, because, you know, you don't know what you're going to come up against when you get there. And from then on, of course, you're doing your training, you're being dished out with your uniforms and taught how to salute and how to march.
But you're only 16, so I don't understand. You have to be 17 and a half.
That's right. Well, by this time, I was 16 and a half.
OK.
And I put my age on.
So you lied?
I did.
You're 101 years old. You were one of the first women on an operational gun site. And I would like your opinion on what it means to be British after all this time.
I get the impression, by just watching the telly and listening to the radio, that we are envied by a lot of countries.
Are you still proud to be British, Grace?
Oh, of course. Oh, yes. I wouldn't want to be anything else, no.
Oh, incredibly moving stuff there. So I always find it really, really kind of emotional when you look at a time gone by, don't you, there, really? And hopefully we can make those veterans proud in the future. I just want to kind of drag us kicking and screaming bit back, really, to breaking news events. So you might have remembered that just before the break, I broke some news that apparently there's been massive protests that have erupted at COP30, this climate summit, where apparently armed indigenous people have decided to store. Here you go. This is footage of it. So armed indigenous people, when I say armed, they're apparently armed with things like sticks. And they have tried to storm the climate conference. And you're watching there people trying to barricade themselves into the conference hall with tables. So there's police everywhere. I don't actually think a shot has been fired, which is just as well. There you go. Look at that's the big stick from the indigenous people there. Seriously though, there's been injuries here. They say that this was their moment to make a stand. It's people who have come from within the Amazon rainforest. So seriously, from within the Amazon rainforest to protest at COP. Look, there you go. They're out in the traditional dress. What do people? I mean, gosh, I wonder if Ed Miliband's all right.
You have to put this into context, because for decades, indigenous people have had their lives made unlivable by illegal deforestation of the places they live, of the villages and the communities where they live in the rainforest, and that has been abetted quite openly at times by the Brazilian government, and it is an outrage. And the Brazilian government has, in recent years, made overtures towards the indigenous peoples of Brazil and to pledge to uphold their rights.
52 million quid. Can I just say, sorry, it's 52 million quid to hack down parts of the Amazon rainforest in Guyana to build a road to nowhere.
Look, there are all kinds of things that have been done that have been deeply harmful to the environment and not helpful. And obviously it's wrong to harm people, to use violence, but the indigenous people do need to be represented in this debate.
But isn't the COP thing on their side? I mean, isn't COP about trying to stop that happening?
That's the facade, Christo, isn't it? The COP thing isn't on their side. If it was on their side, this whole thing would be done on Zoom.
Well, agreed. I don't disagree with that.
There is no reason, let's say since the pandemic, quite seriously, why none of this could be just done remotely. In fact, wouldn't it make a good stand to do it remotely? It's just fodder for people like us to
laugh at.
Essentially. And, we joke about Ed Miliband, but the fact that Ed Miliband's been out there twice, he sent an aide out there previously to look at a four-star hotel, that wasn't good enough, so he went to a five-star hotel. They're living a lavish lifestyle on this. Do it on Zoom.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I agree. Anyway, right, thank you very much. Can I just give you another very quick roundup of what you're going to get from Wednesday's newspaper front pages? The big one, anyway, is on the front of The Guardian. It's also on the front of The Times, which is number 10 on red alert amid fears of a Starmer leadership challenge. Sir Keir Starmer is being challenged by West Streeting, apparently, the likes of Shabana Mahmood and a few other cabinet ministers. Open warfare in Downing Street tonight. The Daily Telegraph. We're the very best of society. That is, in case you were wondering, what the former Director General of the BBC actually said about the BBC. Remarkable. The Sun. I'm a celebrity, get me out of this. Apparently the celebrities on I'm a Celebrity don't want to do things that make them a celebrity, like going and doing the trials. The Metro, £5 billion crypto queen jailed. We didn't get round to that tonight. The Independent, defiant BBC boss, we must fight for our journalism. The Daily Mirror, it's a moving story, this. Harvey Wilgoose's murder. I will meet my son's killer. I can imagine there being a couple of debates on national television tomorrow. You know, would you meet your son's killer? The Daily Express, 4 million people now on benefits who don't have to find a job. The Daily Mail, 1,000 jobs a day now lost under Rachel Reeves. And The Times, 1 million more people on benefits with no need to work. And The Eye, fresh hope for the waspy women. That big story, Sir Keir Starmer on the rocks this evening. We go to The Late Show Live, hosted by Bev Turner. Ooh. Any minute now.
She's worth waiting for.
I'm here, I'm chatting away. America are going to stop sharing intelligence with the US, and also no visas for fatties on The Late Show Live.
We could be delivering the perfect Christmas to you this year. There's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 the best year yet. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family. There's £1,000 to spend in your favourite supermarket. And a festively themed GB News goodie bag, and we'll get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome.
especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, there's almost too much news on tonight. I bet you never thought you'd hear me say that. We're going to go over now to Washington, D.C. with our very own Bev Turner for The Late Show Live. Bev, all the breaking news over here, anyway, is that there's huge leadership challenges to Sir Keir Starmer. There's a slight kind of end-of-days feel to Downing Street this evening, a circular firing squad going on, massive problems. I mean, the other breaking news, by the way, is over in Brazil, where it appears that there's armed protests taking place at COP30.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about quite a lot of British news, actually, tonight, Patrick. That Labour story as well, which has kind of just been breaking, hasn't it, this afternoon, this evening. And also an American-US story, which is that we're now hearing that the UK has stopped intelligence sharing with the US, particularly over these Venezuelan drug traffickers being blown to smithereens in the Caribbean because we don't agree with President Trump doing that in the UK. So if we're not sharing that sort of information with America, what else are we not going to be sharing? And what does this mean for this special relationship we're meant to have? That's also slightly on the ropes, especially with the BBC stuff as well, which has not gone away. We're going to be touching on that as well. Patrick, good to see you. See you tomorrow. This is The Late Show Live. On The Late Show Live tonight.
Move on! Nothing to see here! Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
Labour is at war. Tonight there are widespread reports that Wes Streeting is plotting to oust Sir Keir Starmer. But the Health Secretary is vehemently denying the rumours. Is there maybe no smoke without fire? We'll get all the inside details from a top political journalist. Elsewhere.
Every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America, please be warned that we will blow you out of existence.
You want to stop these drug cartels?
The UK is to stop sharing intelligence with America because they're worried about being complicit in these controversial strikes on Venezuelan drug trafficking boats. So far, these strikes have killed 75 people. So how serious could this be for our special relationship? Also. 500 miles, more like 12,000 when it comes to Ed Miliband. The eco-zealot is jet-setting around the world. Do you think he's a hypocrite? What's going to be beating everyone to the stories that are going to be talked about tomorrow? We are live in Washington, D.C., of course, just yards from the White House, bringing you the stories that America is talking about and that matter to Britain too, including this.
Fit. 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 Wait. Back to Slovenia.
Now, those, of course, are the genuine latest images from the American border where they're stopping obese people coming in. I'm not even kidding. I'm Bev Turner. This is The Late Show Live. Let's get started. So huge breaking news coming out of Westminster tonight. Number 10 seems to be in chaos. Health Secretary Wes Streeting is reportedly trying to oust the Prime Minister. But Streeting has vehemently denied the reports, which I guess he would, wouldn't he? Let's get the opinion of political editor at The Independent, David Maddox. David, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on The Late Show Live.
Hi Bev, how are you?
There you are, David. Good to see you. Right, so what's going on for Labour? Because, I mean, we know that Starmer's popularity is very, very poor, but is he really at the stage where people are trying to stab him in the back, David?
I think he may well be. I mean, it does tonight look like some sort of circular firing squad where everybody's trying to blame one another and finish everybody off. But I mean, this has been coming for months and months now, you know, and it's just not improving for them at all. I mean, Wes Streeting is one of a few with any sort of serious charisma and public recognition who could actually step in. But, you know, I just wonder if the party's actually too left-wing for Wes Streeting now. And, you know, he wouldn't stand a chance up against, say, somebody like Ed Miliband or even Angela Rayner making a comeback.
I mean, I'm sort of smiling to myself out of vision there, David, at the idea that Wes Streeting is a man of charisma, but I do know what you mean. He may
it's
not
all
necessarily.
isn't it?
It's a very, very low bar, David Maddox, is what we're saying, isn't it? It's a very low bar. But what he does have, what Wes Streeting does have, is he has an ability, I think, to communicate with the public where at least he appears to be being fairly straightforward. And he seems like a normal person, in inverted commas. He doesn't seem like a public schoolboy that's lived a rarefied existence. He looks like he brings a bit of kind of muscle to the role. He doesn't mind rolling his sleeves up, getting stuck in. I can see why he might be the one snapping at the heels of Starmer. But what would actually be the process, David, for the Labour Party if they were going to start trying to get Starmer out?
Well, I mean, there's two things I'd say as well. Wes Streeting is not actually the only name being bandied around. I mean, to my surprise, John Healey, the Defence Secretary, has been bandied around as some sort of continuity candidate. And Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, has also been bandied around.
God
so
help us!
It's not only Wes by any means. Although, I mean, Wes would certainly be the strongest candidate, I think. But it's actually quite a different.